God says, I see every broken life, and none of them are forgotten, my children. Come close tonight, all of you, wherever you are, whatever you are carrying. I am not speaking to one person tonight. I am speaking to every broken piece of every life that has ever felt unseen, unworthy, unwanted, or forgotten. I am speaking to the ones sleeping on hard ground tonight, curling their knees toward their chest to keep the cold from settling into their bones, using a bag as a pillow because it is the only soft thing they have left. I am speaking to the child in a hospital bed, listening to the steady beep of a machine in the dark. Too tired to cry anymore, just watching the ceiling and waiting for morning. I am speaking to the widow setting 2 forks on the table out of 40 years of habit, then quietly putting one back before she sits down alone. I am speaking to the man rehearsing the words in the bathroom mirror, practicing how to tell his wife the account is empty, watching his own face for a version of himself brave enough to say it out loud. I am speaking to the woman who flinches at a raised voice in another room, whose body remembers things her mind has tried to forget. I am speaking to the boy in the group home who has stopped running to the window.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Because the
Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted.
Hurts less.
Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth.
I am speaking to
Peace
the one
I leave with
counting
you.
days sober
My peace
on
I
their
give
fingers.
to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled.
Those fingers run out.
I am with you
and a
always,
hand reaches
to the
for
very end of
something
the
else
age.
Instead, I am speaking to the man behind grey walls, who knows the exact number of days since anyone last wrote his name on an envelope. I am speaking to the woman clutching a single bag at a border crossing, repeating a new language in her head, so she will not be caught unprepared by the next question. I am speaking to the parent standing over ground, still soft enough to leave a footprint, beside a stone with a birth date too close to its final date. I am speaking to every person who has ever lain awake at 3 a.m., staring at a ceiling, asking quietly into the dark, does anyone see me? Does anyone care? Am I really this alone? My children, I see you. Every single one of you, not as a category, not as a statistic. I see the particular shape of your particular night, and none of you are forgotten. Number to the ones who have nothing left. There is a man tonight sitting under a bridge, his few belongings gathered in a torn bag beside him, watching the tail lights of cars streak past, red and fading. None of them slowing down. He was not always here. There was a version of his life with a key that fit a door, a job that gave his days shape, a family who said his name at dinner. Something broke, one loss stacking on another. Quietly, the way a roof gives way, not all at once but board by board, until the day it finally does. He tells himself now that he has become invisible, that somewhere along the way the world took a vote and decided he no longer counts. My child, I see you under that bridge tonight. I feel the concrete through whatever you are lying on. I know the particular kind of cold that is not just weather, but the cold of being looked past by 100 people in a single day. You have not become invisible to me. I do not measure you by the roof over your head or the money in your pocket. I never did, and I never will. I know your name. I knew it before you had an address, and I know it now that you do not. Losing everything did not cost you your place in my heart. Nothing has that power. There is still a story unfolding in your life, even from under this bridge. I have not stopped writing it. Number to the child who is sick and does not understand why there is a small child in a hospital bed tonight. A plastic bracelet loose around her thin wrist, the tube in her arm taped down with a cartoon bandage that someone thought might make it less frightening. It does not really, but she has stopped mentioning that because her mother's face already looks tired enough. She does not have the words for what she is going through. She only knows that it hurts. that she is tired in a way naps do not fix, that she wants to go home and cannot understand why the doctors keep saying not yet. Her parents take turns in the stiff chair beside her bed, trading off sleep in 1-hour shifts, trying to look calm every time she opens her eyes, and stepping into the hallway to fall apart quietly where she cannot see. My child, I am in that room. I am in the hum of the machine, keeping time through the night. I am not distant from suffering that makes no sense, especially the suffering of the innocent, the kind that never should have touched someone this small. I do not have an easy answer for why children get sick. I will not pretend this pain has some hidden logic that makes it acceptable. But I want that child, and every child like her, to know she is not alone in that bed at 2 a.m. when the hallway light is the only light left on. I am present in every needle, every long night, every moment of fear too big for young shoulders to hold. And to the parents in that stiff chair, taking turns pretending to be fine, I see your exhaustion too. I know the specific ache of loving someone whose pain you cannot take from them, no matter how much you would trade places in an instant. I am not absent from this room. I am here, in the nurse's steady hands, in the small stubborn hope that survives even the hardest 3 a.m. Number to the widow eating. Alone there is a woman tonight standing at a cupboard, holding 2 forks in her hand out of 40 years of habit before she catches herself and puts one back, quietly, as though no one is watching. No one is. That is exactly the problem. She talks to an empty chair sometimes, not because her mind has slipped, but because the silence is easier to bear with words inside it, even words spoken to no one who will answer back. She has been told that time heals. Some days she almost believes it. Other days, a certain song on the radio, or the particular smell of a coat still hanging by the door, brings the grief back exactly as sharp as the first week. My child, I do not rush your grief. I do not expect you to be finished mourning by a date someone else decided was reasonable. The person you loved was not a small loss, easily replaced by moving on. Their absence is a permanent shape in your life now, and grief is simply love continuing to exist in a world that removed the person it was meant for. I sit at that empty chair with you. I do not fill it, because I am not pretending to replace what was lost. But I am present in the space beside you, in the quiet dinners, in the anniversaries that still ache, in the moments a familiar song catches you off guard. You are not required to stop missing them in order to keep living. Both can be true at once, a life that continues and a grief that remains. Number to the man who lost everything and cannot tell his family. There is a man tonight standing in front of the bathroom mirror at midnight, mouthing the words he cannot yet say out loud, watching his own reflection for a version of himself brave enough to walk out and say them. His business failed months ago. The savings ran out weeks ago. He has been leaving the house every morning in a pressed shirt, driving somewhere, anywhere, just so the neighbors would not notice his car in the driveway during work hours. He feels like a failure in the most fundamental way a person can feel like a failure, unable to provide, unable to protect, unable to be who he promised. At the altar or across a crib, he would always be. My child, your worth was never built on your bank account or your business or your ability to provide financially. I know that culture has taught you otherwise. That shame has attached itself to your identity as though failure in finances means failure as a person. That is not true. And I need you to hear it clearly tonight. You are not your failures. You are not the business that collapsed. You are not the numbers that did not add up. Telling the truth to the people who love you will be hard, and I will be with you in that hard conversation, in the exact moment you finally say it out loud. Most of the people who truly love you will surprise you with grace you did not expect because they love you, not your income. And even where the conversation is harder than you hoped, your value in my eyes has not changed even slightly. Not for one moment. Number to the woman hurt by those who should have protected her. There is a woman tonight who locks the bedroom door out of habit, even though she lives alone. Now who still checks twice that it is locked before she can fall asleep. The wounds were given to her by people who were supposed to keep her safe. A parent, a partner, someone whose role was trust, and who broke that trust in ways that still echo through her body years later, in the flinch of her shoulders when a door slams somewhere in the building. She has learned to flinch at kindness sometimes, because kindness once came before harm. She has learned to distrust safety, because safety was once a lie someone told her right before it was not true anymore. My child, what was done to you was wrong. I will not soften that truth or ask you to excuse it. The people who hurt you bear responsibility for that hurt fully, and I do not ask you to pretend otherwise in the name of forgiveness. Healing from this kind of wound is not linear, and it is not quick. Some days you will feel strong, and other days a small thing will remind your body of what happened, and you will feel fragile all over again. Both are part of healing, not failures of it. I am not the ones who hurt you. I am not the silence that followed when you tried to speak about it. I am not the doubt others may have shown you. I am safety that does not break its promises. I am present in your healing, however long it takes, and I do not require you to have already arrived at peace in order to be loved completely right now. Number to the orphan who has stopped waiting to be chosen. There is a child tonight in a room with too many other beds, lying very still, listening for the particular sound of a car door outside, the sound that used to make her sit up in hope. She has stopped sitting up now. She just listens, flat on her back, because hoping and being disappointed over and over has become more painful than simply expecting nothing at all. My child, I know the particular ache of waiting to be wanted. I know how many times hope has been raised and then lowered again in your small chest, quietly, so no one would see it happen. I want you to know something that does not depend on any family finding you, though I have not given up hope for that either. You were already chosen long before any adoption paperwork, long before any visiting day. I chose you when I made you. That choice was never in question, and it does not require anyone else's approval to be real. Whatever happens with earthly family, you are not an afterthought in my story. You were never a mistake, never an inconvenience, never someone left over after all. The wanted children were already claimed. I see you in that room tonight, lying still, listening, and I want you to know, you are wanted. You have always been wanted. By me completely. Number to the one trapped by addiction. There is a person tonight sitting on the edge of a bed at 2 a.m., turning a phone over in their hands, thumb hovering over a number they promised they would never call again. They hate what this has done to their life. They have tried to stop more times than they can count on both hands. And each time the stopping did not last, something in them died a little, quietly, in private. They know the shame of promises broken at Christmas dinners, at hospital bedsides, in whispered apologies that ran out of believability a long time ago. They know the specific loneliness of being surrounded by people who no longer trust them, for reasons they themselves understand and cannot fully argue against. My child, I do not see you only as your addiction. I see the whole of you. The person you were before this took hold, the person still present underneath it, and the person you can still become. Recovery is rarely a single moment of victory. It is often a long, uneven road, full of real progress and real setbacks. And I am present in both, not only in the parts that look like success. Seeking real help, real treatment, real community is not a failure of faith. It is often exactly the path I have provided for healing to become possible. You are not too far gone. I say this not as a hopeful wish, but as a truth. There is no distance you have traveled that places you outside my reach. Number to the prisoner, who wonders if he is remembered. There is a man tonight, lying on a thin mattress, staring at a grey ceiling, counting on one hand the number of letters he has received. This year, he knows the exact number. It is not many. He wonders if anyone outside still thinks of him, or if he has simply been erased from the lives he once belonged to, replaced quietly by people who found it easier not to write back. He carries guilt for what led him here, real guilt in some cases, and he wonders whether that guilt disqualifies him from ever being loved again, the way he once was, back when his name still meant something good to the people who said it. My child, I have not erased you. Whatever you did, whatever brought you here, you are still known to me, still able to be changed, still capable of a future that is not identical to your past. I do not measure your entire life by your worst decision. That decision does not get the final word over the whole of who you are. Repentance is real. Growth inside difficult walls is real. I have seen people transformed in the hardest places, becoming something different from who they were when they arrived. You are not forgotten, not by everyone who knew you before, and certainly not by me. Number to the refugee who arrived somewhere that does not want her. There is a woman tonight standing in a small rented room, mouthing new words in an unfamiliar language before she has to use them tomorrow. Practicing so she will not stumble in front of strangers who already look at her sideways. She left behind a home she may never see again, a particular doorway, a particular tree in the courtyard, a particular smell of her mother's kitchen that she cannot recreate here, no matter how hard she tries. She left danger to find safety and found instead a different kind of hardship, suspicion in the eyes of a shopkeeper. Isolation in a language she has not yet mastered, the exhausting daily work of starting over from nothing in a place that does not know her story or her name before the war. My child, I know what you left, and I know what it cost you. I know the specific grief of a homeland that is no longer safe to return to. I am not only the God of the place you left, I am the God of the place you have arrived, present in this new land just as fully as I was present in the one you had to leave. The unwelcome you feel here does not reflect my heart toward you. I welcome you completely, without the suspicion the world sometimes offers a stranger. You are not starting from nothing. You are starting with everything you survived to get here. And I am building something new in this place, even in the hardness of it. Number to every parent standing beside a grave. Too small, there is a parent tonight, kneeling on ground, still soft enough to leave a footprint, brushing a few stray leaves off a stone with a birth date too recent to also need a final date carved beside it. They come every week, same day, same time, and they still catch themselves. In the car on the way, thinking about what to make for dinner tonight before remembering all over again, in a wave, why they are actually driving to this particular place. There are no words that make this right. I will not offer any that pretend to, my child. I do not ask you to find meaning in this loss, if meaning is not something you can find right now or ever. Some losses simply are what they are, unbearable, unfair, and permanent. What I offer is not an explanation. It is presence. I am with you at this grave, in this specific unbearable grief, not offering reasons, but offering to carry what cannot be carried alone. Your child is not forgotten by me. The love you carry for them has not become meaningless simply because they are gone. I hold that love, and I hold you, in this grief that has no expiration date. Number to everyone who has ever asked, does anyone see me across every story spoken tonight? One thread connects them all, the fear of being unseen, unnoticed, uncounted among all the lives that matter, the man under the bridge, the sick child, the grieving widow, the failed businessman, the wounded woman, the waiting orphan, the struggling addict, the forgotten prisoner, the displaced refugee, the grieving parent. Each of you has wondered, in your own private moment, does anyone actually see me, or am I simply one more life the world has overlooked? My children, I see every one of you, not as a category, not as a statistic, not as one broken life among many indistinguishable others, but individually, specifically, completely. I know your name. I know the exact shape of your particular pain. I know the moment it began, and I know every night since that it has kept you awake. You are not one of many forgotten people to me. You are the one I came looking for. However many others also needed finding. Number to the single parent doing the work of two. There is a mother tonight sitting on the bathroom floor for exactly 3 minutes. The only privacy she can find, letting herself cry silently with the fan running, so the sound will not carry before she wipes her face, stands up and walks back out to help with homework, as though nothing happened. She worked all day. She cooked dinner. She broke up an argument between siblings. There was no one else to hand any of it to. She loves her children fiercely. She is also exhausted in a way that sleep alone does not seem to fix. Carrying a weight that was meant, in an easier world, to be shared between two people instead of one. My child, I see the specific exhaustion of doing this work alone. I see those 3 minutes on the bathroom floor, the fan running, the face wiped clean before anyone could see. You are not failing simply because this is hard. Doing the work of two people is hard by definition, not because you are somehow inadequate at it. I am present in the late nights, the early mornings, the moments when you do not know how you will keep going, and somehow keep going anyway. That somehow is not only your own strength, it is mine working through you. Number to the person surviving domestic violence. There is someone tonight lying very still beside a person who was supposed to love them. Eyes open in the dark, listening to the rhythm of the other person's breathing, calculating from long habit whether it is safe to move, to speak, to exist normally in this bed tonight. They have been told in 100 small and large ways over years that they deserve this, that they caused it, that no one else would ever want them anyway. Some nights they have started to believe it a little, which frightens them more than the violence itself. My child, none of that is true. You do not deserve harm. You did not cause someone else's violence. Your worth is not determined by someone who has shown you the opposite of love while calling it love. I know that leaving is dangerous and complicated and often not as simple as the world assumes it should be. I am not asking you to solve everything alone or overnight. I am with you in the waiting, in the planning, in the fear. When the moment comes that you are able to leave safely, I will be present in that moment too. And in the meantime, I want you to know clearly, you are not what has been done to you, and you are not alone in this. Number to the person with a disability. The world was not built. For there is a person tonight sitting at the bottom of 3 concrete steps that lead into a restaurant with no ramp, waiting for someone inside to notice and come help. again feeling the familiar heat of being looked at and looked past in the same instant. Stairs where there should be ramps. Conversations that happen over their head as though they are not in the room. Assumptions made about what they can and cannot do, often wrong, and rarely asked about directly. They are tired, not only from their own body, but from constantly having to advocate for a world to simply see them as a full person, rather than an obstacle to be rooted around. My child, I did not make a mistake when I made you. Your body, however it works, however it differs from what the world considers standard, is not a flaw to be apologized for. The barriers you face were built by human choices, not by some failure in how I designed you. I grieve with you over a world that has not yet learned to make room for everyone. You are not less whole. You are not a burden for needing accommodation. You are exactly who I intended, navigating a world that still has much to learn about welcoming you fully. Number to the elderly person forgotten in a quiet room. There is an old woman tonight, sitting in a chair by the window, watching the same street she has watched for 30 years, waiting for a phone that has not rung today. She keeps the volume turned up loud just in case, even though she already knows, somewhere underneath the hoping, that no one is likely to call before tomorrow. She remembers being needed, being central to decisions, being the one people came to for wisdom before a big choice. Now she often goes days without a real conversation, longer than the one she has with the woman who brings her groceries. My child, the passing of years has not diminished your worth in my eyes. You are not less valuable because the world's attention has moved toward younger, busier lives. I remember every year you have lived, every person you have loved, every quiet sacrifice you made that no one properly thanked you for at the time. You are not forgotten by me, even in this quiet room, even on the days no one calls. I sit with you at this window. I have not stopped listening to the wisdom you still carry, even if fewer people ask for it now. Number to the teenager who feels like they do not belong anywhere. There is a teenager tonight lying on their bedroom floor, phone held above their face, thumb scrolling through images of parties they were not invited to, feeling the particular ache of watching a life happen just out of reach. One screen tap away, close enough to see but not close enough to belong to. They wonder if something is fundamentally wrong with them, if they will always feel this out of place, if the isolation they feel now is simply what the rest of their life will be like. My child, adolescence often feels like standing outside a room everyone else seems to have been let into. That feeling is more common than it seems, hidden behind everyone else's own carefully curated exterior, behind their own version of a phone held above their own face, scrolling through images of a party you might have been invited to that they were not. You do not have to have life figured out yet. You do not have to fit into every group to have worth. The parts of you that feel different are not defects. They may become, later, exactly the parts of you that matter most. I see you on that floor tonight, phone still glowing above you. You are not invisible to me, and this season, however endless it feels, is not the whole of your story. Number to the person facing a terminal diagnosis. There is a person tonight sitting in a parked car outside their own house, engine off, unable to go inside yet and say the words to the people waiting for them at the dinner table. The diagnosis came back worse than hoped. They keep replaying the doctor's exact sentence, the specific pause before the specific word, trying to decide how to say it gently to people who love them too much to hear it gently. They think about the people they love, the things left undone, the fear of pain, the fear of the unknown that comes after. My child, I will not pretend this is not frightening. I will not offer cheap comfort that dismisses the weight of what you are facing. What I offer is presence in the time that remains, however long or short that turns out to be. I am not waiting on the other side of death, distant until you arrive. I am here now in the fear, in the treatment decisions, in the conversations with people you love that suddenly feel more urgent and more precious. Whatever comes, you do not walk toward it alone. I have walked through death before, and I will walk through it with you, holding your hand the entire way on both sides of that passage. Number to the person who has been unemployed far longer than they expected. There is a person tonight refreshing an inbox for the 6th time in an hour, watching the little icon spin and then show nothing new. Again, after sending out an application this morning, that took 2 hours to tailor perfectly and will likely never receive so much as an automated reply. They started this search with confidence, printed resumes, a clean blazer, practiced answers to practiced questions. Months later, that confidence has eroded into something closer to quiet despair, checking the inbox less because they expect good news and more because the checking itself has become a nervous habit they cannot break. My child, prolonged unemployment carries a particular kind of grief, the grief of feeling unusable, uninvited, unnecessary in a world that measures so much of a person's worth by their job title. Your worth was never dependent on employment status. I do not evaluate you by the responses you have or have not received, or by the silence in that inbox. I know this search is exhausting. I know the shame that creeps in unfairly, as though not having found work yet reflects something lacking in you, rather than simply the difficulty of the search itself. Keep going, one application at a time, and on the days you cannot keep going, rest without shame. I have not withdrawn from you because a door has not yet opened. To the person estranged from their own family. There is someone tonight staring at a name in their phone they have not called in years. Thumb hovering over it during a quiet moment, then locking the screen and setting the phone face down on the table instead. They carry complicated grief for a relationship that technically still exists but functions in every practical way as a loss. The kind of loss no one sends a casserole for. They are asked sometimes casually at parties, "How is your family?" and the question lands like a small wound each time, because the honest answer is complicated in ways most people do not want to hear over small talk and appetizers. My child, estrangement is one of the more invisible griefs, because the person is not dead. And yet, the relationship in its former shape essentially is. I do not ask you to force reconciliation before it is safe or possible. Some relationships have caused real harm, and protecting yourself from further harm is not a failure of love or faith. Where reconciliation might one day be possible, I will provide the courage for it in its proper time. Where it may never be possible, I sit with you in the grief of a family relationship that could not become what you needed it to be. You are not required to pretend this loss does not hurt simply because the other person is still alive. Number to every unfortunate life mentioned, and everyone I know that has not been named. I have spoken tonight of many specific sorrows: homelessness, sickness, grief, financial ruin, abuse, abandonment, addiction, imprisonment, displacement, loss of a child, exhausted single parenting, domestic violence, disability, old age, adolescent isolation, terminal illness, unemployment, and family estrangement. And still, I know there are sorrows I have not named specifically tonight that belong to you, particular in their shape, unlike anyone else's exact story. Whatever your particular unfortunate circumstance, however it does or does not resemble what has been spoken tonight, know this: I did not skip over you because your specific story was not mentioned by name. I know it in full. I know every detail the world will never fully understand, and I am present in it completely tonight and every night that follows. Number to the person who survived but does not know how to live beyond survival. There is a person tonight who made it through something terrible, an illness, an assault, a disaster, a childhood that should never have happened to a child. They survived, and everyone around them treats that survival as though it should be enough, as though gratitude for still being alive should erase whatever comes next. But surviving and living are not the same thing, and this person is quietly struggling with what comes after the crisis, the flashbacks, the numbness, the difficulty trusting a world that once proved itself dangerous. My child's survival is not the finish line, however much the people around you may want it to be. You are allowed to still be struggling, even now, even after the worst part is technically over. I do not ask you to perform gratitude for having survived, while ignoring the real difficulty of learning to actually live afterward. Both truths can exist together, relief that you made it, and honest struggle with what making it costs you now. I am present in the slow work of learning to live beyond mere survival. That work is not a betrayal of gratitude. It is simply the next necessary chapter. Number to the person who gives everything to others and receives little in return. There is a caregiver tonight, perhaps for a sick parent, a disabled child, a struggling spouse, who has given years of their life to caring for someone else. Often invisibly, often without acknowledgement, often at real cost to their own health and dreams. They do not regret the love behind the giving, but there is an exhaustion in it too, and sometimes a quiet resentment they feel ashamed of, wondering when, if ever, someone will care for them the way they have cared for others. My child, your giving has not gone unnoticed by me. Even in the moments it has gone unnoticed by everyone else. It is not selfish to long for care in return. It is not a betrayal of your love for the person you care for to also need care yourself. I see the years you have given. I see the dreams quietly set aside. I am not asking you to feel guilty for wanting someday to be on the receiving end of the kind of care you have given so generously to others. Number to the person haunted by a decision they cannot undo. There is someone tonight replaying a single decision over and over, wondering what would have happened if they had chosen differently. A relationship ended because of it. A friendship was lost. A life was altered, sometimes their own, sometimes someone else's, in a way that cannot be reversed. They carry this decision like a stone in their chest, unable to fully forgive themselves, even years later. My child, I do not ask you to pretend the decision did not matter or that its consequences were not real. But I do ask you to consider whether you are still punishing yourself for something you have already grieved, already learned from, already tried to make right wherever making it right was possible. Endless self-punishment does not undo what happened. It only adds new suffering on top of old suffering without repairing anything. You are allowed to release this stone, even if the world around you has not fully released you from it. I released you from it long ago. Number to every fractured community and every person caught in its middle. There is division tonight in families, in neighborhoods, in nations, people who once stood on common ground, now standing across widening distances from one another, sometimes over real and serious differences, sometimes over misunderstandings that calcified into permanent distance. Many of you are caught in the middle of this fracturing, unable to reconcile people you love, exhausted by conflict you did not create, grieving a unity that used to feel more possible than it does now. My child, I grieve division too, more than you know. I did not design people to live in permanent opposition to one another. I do not ask you to personally repair every broken relationship around you, or to absorb the weight of every conflict as your own responsibility to solve. Where you can be a bridge, be one gently, without forcing outcomes that are not ready. Where you cannot, release the guilt of a fracture that was never entirely within your power to prevent or fix. Number. What I am doing, even when you cannot see it, I want to tell you something about how I work. Because it often does not look the way people expect. I do not usually arrive with loud, dramatic rescue in a single sudden moment, though sometimes I do. More often, I work slowly, through people, through small mercies, through doors that open just enough to let you take the next step. The stranger who offered a meal without being asked, that was me, working through willing hands. The nurse who stayed a few minutes longer than her shift required, that was me, present in her care. The neighbor who sat with the widow so she would not eat alone that particular night. That was me, working through ordinary kindness. The counselor who finally helped someone see a way out of addiction. That was me, present in that slow unraveling of what held them captive. I do not always arrive the way you expect, but I am always present, weaving myself through the actions of people willing to be used for good, and through the quiet endurance of people simply continuing to survive one more day. Number to those who wonder if their suffering has any purpose, I do not tell you that every hardship exists for a neat, tidy reason. Some suffering is simply the result of a broken world, of other people's cruelty, of illness and disaster that were never part of some hidden lesson plan. I will not insult your pain by claiming it was secretly a gift in disguise, but I will tell you this: pain does not have to be meaningless in order to be real, and meaning does not have to be found immediately in order to eventually be found at all. Some of you will look back, years from now, and see how the hardest chapter of your life became the foundation for compassion you could not have developed any other way. For a strength you did not know you carried, for a capacity to help someone else exactly where you once needed help yourself. I do not promise you will fully understand your suffering. I promise it will not be wasted, even if the reason remains hidden for a very long time. Number to those who feel too broken to be used for anything good. You may believe that your brokenness disqualifies you, that whatever good exists in the world must come from people who have their lives together in ways you do not. My child, I have never once required wholeness before using someone for good. Some of the most compassionate people I have ever worked through were people who knew suffering intimately, who could sit with someone else's pain because they had once sat in the exact same darkness themselves. Your brokenness is not a disqualification. It may become, in time, the very thing that allows you to reach someone else who feels as unseen as you once did. You do not have to wait until you are fixed to matter. You matter now, broken pieces and all. Number, a closing word to every unfortunate life spoken of tonight, to the homeless man under the bridge. You are not invisible. To the sick child in the hospital bed, you are not alone in your pain. To the grieving widow, your love was not wasted, and your grief is not a failure. To the man who lost everything, your worth was never in the numbers. To the woman wounded by those who should have protected her, what was done to you was wrong, and your healing matters to me. To the waiting orphan, you were chosen before anyone else even had the chance. To the one trapped by addiction, you are not too far gone. To the forgotten prisoner, your past does not have the final word over your future. To the displaced refugee, you are welcome here, completely. To the parent standing beside a grave too small, your grief has no expiration date, and neither does my presence beside you. To every one of you, and to every unfortunate life, not specifically named tonight, but known completely to me, you are seen. You are not forgotten. You are loved beyond what your current circumstances could ever measure. Number, a final prayer for every broken life, if you have no other words tonight. Let these be enough, whoever you are, whatever your particular sorrow. Lord, I am tired, and some days I do not know how much more I can carry. I bring you my hunger, my sickness, my grief, my shame, my addiction, my imprisonment, whether it is behind real walls or the invisible walls of circumstance. I bring you the ache of feeling forgotten, unseen, uncounted among all the lives that seem to matter more than mine. I do not ask you to explain why this hardship exists. I ask you simply to stay close to me inside it. Help me believe, even faintly, that I have not been overlooked. Help me notice the small mercies you place along my path, even in the middle of real suffering. If there is a next step available to me, however small, give me the strength to take it. And if there is nothing I can do today except simply survive, let that be enough for now. Thank you for seeing me, even when the rest of the world has looked past me. Amen. Number. Before you go, whatever unfortunate circumstance brought you to hear these words tonight, whether it is your own story or the story of someone you love, I want you to carry one truth back into your life. No life is too broken, too forgotten, too far gone, or too small to matter completely to me. Every person under every bridge, every child in every hospital bed, every widow at every quiet table, every prisoner behind every wall, every refugee in every unfamiliar land, every parent beside every grave too small. Every single one of you is known, is seen, is loved completely and without condition. You have carried enough for today. Now let me carry you.